Hey gang, Mike Hawk here. So here's the deal. I know that we usually have an official start to these things, but this week things just kind of sort of started. So apologies, there's no official intro to the greatest story never told this week. We're just going to dip right in. Thank you for listening. Good, bad news.
What's that?
All my Dragons gear that I ordered after hearing that was disbanded is now on its way, except for the dadgum replica football.
I have one.
I know you do.
You do?
I bought it the day we went to that game.
I don't have one.
So I got the football, the hat, the windbreaker thing, which I like a lot. It's just navy blue.
You got to remember the details of all this.
And the hat that you got on.
Yeah, the hat and a jersey.
Right.
And now they've disbanded, and I'm like, I'm still going to wear it. Because
Hell
no matter
yeah.
what, man, it. I still supported the goddamn team.
I'm also going to sit here and I'm going to tell you, it will come back. They disbanded because there is no reason to have a sports team right now, especially one as young as the XFL. It's going to disband. There's no plans to come back next year. They're going to come back strong in 2022.
I was going to say 2022 only because, and I get why they made the decision they did. Part of it is you need to see how this is going to play out.
Right.
Before you invest hundreds of millions of dollars. But
Exactly.
if nothing else, they realized that it was viable because people truly supported it, man.
Right.
That has a lot to do with it.
Timer out here. So Vince McMahon is going to let the NFL and Roger Goodell do what they do and go ahead and just kind of feel out the waters as to how the attendance is, and then he's going to come back and see if
Well,
he can do
attendance
better.
doesn't matter because only 15% of the profit in the NFL is made by attendance, where 75% is made.
Merch?
No.
No, 75%.
Budweiser, Doritos, TV deals,
NCAA,
all that
they
stuff.
exist on 75% profit from gate. So
I would not say who I was speaking
so
to,
it hurts
but
college football more to not play in front of an audience.
it definitely does because part of college football, though, because so many people are underage, they limit the number of alcohol commercials they do. You know, what I mean? Obviously we're watching it too, but when it's a college where you're trying to not promote drinking, hardy har. So they take that money. But with the NFL, talking to my brother, he does not know what they're going to do. But I said, well, what if they do it without fans? And this is a guy heavily involved, and he goes, man, and you get to see it on his face. He says, but the NFL, it's all about the fans. It's all about the anger. It's all about the cheers. He's
Right.
like, if we call a call that the home team doesn't like, because inevitably that's who boos or cheers, he's like, you take it on the chin, it's part of the job. It doesn't matter because you still know you made the right call, but there's something different when you call pass interference.
Can you talk about what your brother says on this podcast?
On the home team, right? But he's like, when you don't get the boos, it's still, you don't do it for that reason.
Sure.
But football is so passionate because it's one of the few sports where there's such a break in between significant plays. Baseball, not every pitch is significant. You make it significant if you actually hit the damn thing, right?
Right.
But in football, it's like, look, within 35 seconds, the next thing that either team does is incredibly significant. So you make a call, you get 35 to 40 seconds to listen to them yell at you, and then it's the next play.
Right.
And he was just saying, from his point of view, it's just, it'd be weird without people in the stands.
Right, because then I'm just making a call, and then coaches are pissed, and you actually get to hear what that little back and forth is.
Right.
I did say this to him. I said, listen, the XFL tried something where they mic up coaches and all that, and it is what it is. Most of them were aware, so they tried to curb it. The NFL has the luxury of, for the most part, you don't really hear. Trust me, he tells me what coaches will say to you. But he's like, if you get rid of the crowd, right, and I make a call, the coach will still have a problem with it. No crap, but you don't, and he's told me which coaches are more prone to say things explosively and
Right.
a little more colorful language. He's like, that's not something you want to put on TV. And more than that,
Does he say what the worst coach is?
the coach, he said, is as far as dealing with as an official, is no longer coaching in the NFL. But yeah, he did say who he thought was the worst. Some of the people that might surprise you, one of the people he said is pretty decent, Bill Belichick, right?
Okay.
He said the one thing about Bill Belichick, you can like him or hate him. Basically, if you're not a Patriots fan, you hate him because he's done so well. But
Right.
you respect the guy. But he said, man, he knows the rules. So he said it's worse when Bill Belichick calls you over because there's a really good chance he's right and he addresses you by name. Now, keep in mind, Belichick doesn't say Tom Brady. He says, number 12. During like training camp, he's like, when you mess up, Adrian, right? I mean, calls your ass over and it's, on page 38 of the rule book, section B, subsection, blah, blah, blah. That's the wrong call.
Tell
And he's
people,
like,
though, what happens on the field.
my brother, and you're going to have to beep some of this out. Right? And I want
Are we rolling already?
We've been rolling this entire time.
So what is this episode called?
This is episode 26.
BSing behind the scenes.
Okay. All right,
so
fair
my
enough.
brother's
You
an
gotta tell
NFL
stories.
official.
I got a good football story to finish.
But
Okay,
I will.
that's
I will keep a lot of things he says private because he does work for the NFL. But he, and look, the coaches berate officials. You see it all the time, and he says who's cool, who's not. Most of them, it's the heat of the moment. He lets it go. But he was here last Father's Day, and when he got here last Father's Day, he had been promoted to a referee, but he had not done a regular season yet. So this is May. He's going to be a referee in September. So he flies in. He goes to my parents' house, and one of the things we did, we ordered 4 basically Foot Locker jerseys, but referee jerseys.
Yeah, but there's still referee jerseys.
So when he came to my house, we opened the
Or
door.
a collared shirt.
But there's 4 of us there, and we're all wearing it, and it meant the world to him. It's just a congratulations, right? But as the referee, and my brother is he's the opposite of me. He is kind, he is thoughtful, he is patient, and he is short. And I'm the opposite
He's
of all
patient.
those
He has
things.
no kids.
That's a good point.
I mean, honest to God.
And he kind of has a voice like this, but my mother says, well, Adrian, congratulations. Oh, thank you. And she says, during the game of football, these are big, young men, man, and it is competitive, and they are playing their hearts out. This is their passion. You don't play NFL football by accident. You've put the effort in. This means the world to even the players you don't think care more than you think they do because, right, it takes effort to do this. So
Their job's short-lived if they don't
right.
add up.
It is a short-lived job.
It's the shortest career you ever had.
It is a brutal sport, but you do this because of passion. And that's everyone, even the cheerleaders. I'm not making fun. The cheerleaders that do this are in heavy competition to be an NFL cheerleader because that's the creme de la creme. The players, obviously, but even the officials, you have to have a ridiculous belief system to believe that you can be an NFL official because keep in mind, there's 53 men per team. So every game has 106 players. There's 7 officials. So your odds are better being a player than an official. He is there because that's the kind of man he is, all right? But he's a very calm, patient guy, and where I cuss all the time, he doesn't. So my mother asked him, hey, when you're playing the game, she's like, after a play, what are the horrible things you hear? And it's exactly what you'd expect, but it's just the way my brother delivers it because he's
Are you going to deliver it?
I'm going to deliver it.
You will deliver
You're
it.
going to have to beep it out. But
No, you won't.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
No, you won't.
Yeah, you do.
Miles, we were allowed one uncensored episode, and we
No,
already did it.
You need to beep this out.
Okay.
And you will understand why. Because I'm going to tell you what he told us in that very casual
I know
way.
what he's going to tell you.
So my mom asked a question. My brother saying, well, it's not too bad. It's just the normal stuff you hear like, hey, motherfucker, I'm going to up after the game and, nice hit and you, motherfucker, because you did this. But it's just regular stuff after every play. And
Yeah,
my mom's
guys
sitting
talking
there
trash.
with her mouth hanging open going, oh, my God. He's like,
Nothing she hasn't heard.
yeah, but typically.
I mean, she heard that in a gas station in
It doesn't matter.
1974.
This is about being a professional. So any job that you have, unless you're a stand-up comic, generally speaking, when you're at work. All right, so look at it like this. Football players, the only thing we know them for is the moment they play the game. If you listen to our show or listen to this podcast, you know us in the moment we broadcast. But there are moments before we go on the air where we speak freely with one another.
Sure.
Okay? But when we get on the air, I don't look at you, Miles, and say, you dumb motherfucker, man, go right? So,
But you're thinking it.
but I'm thinking it,
But you don't say it.
but you don't say it. So
Right.
this is a profession where you say, but they're also passive. It's never really a threat. So to hear
No,
my brother say it,
Well, they're gonna see each other probably later. That they go to college together. Like you don't just start football in the NFL.
right?
So it's like
There's some of that too. One of them that I've heard that he said, and I will not say the players, but your girlfriend in college in the senior year, mother.
because he did.
Yeah, he did.
I'll give you one football story, which is terrible, but this is kind of how I ended up playing football. So in high school, me and my best friend Craig Colbank, we played sports our entire life.
Right.
So our whole life has been based on being on the same teams. Craig was a catcher in baseball. I was a pitcher. He took the brunt of my terrible throws, foul balls, foul tips, the whole deal. He was also the center in football, and I was a quarterback. So he took all the hits. Like, I mean,
To protect
tackles
your
coming
ass.
down on it. Right, exactly. So he was beaten up his entire life to make me,
Mediocre?
lose the game and be average at best, right? Okay, so
Without me, you'd suck. With me, you're mediocre.
Exactly. And he could have played D1 football, right? Guy's 6'3". He weighs 270 pounds. He's a menace. He can dunk off 2 feet. This guy with long hair.
Oh, that guy.
And
Okay.
just slam it down, right? He's just an incredible athlete, right? But he's also very smart. Doesn't want to do this anymore. I will never forget this day. We are leaving the senior field. I sound like Ted. We're leaving the field after a state championship playoff game, and we lost, and we just got beaten to death. And I've never been hit so hard in my life in one game, and my head's ringing. I can't see straight. My vision is blurry. I've been just I took a shot to the head in the first quarter. I don't remember the rest
Doesn't
of the
that
game.
explain so much, Mike?
No,
Don't you go,
but I still had 2 touchdown passes after that. I still ran for 65 yards. I can't run. Like, I know that we were in the game. I don't remember much in that game. What I do remember is when we were walking off the field, we played Winfield High School. They were a dominant school. And I put my arm around Craig and I said, Craig, we're never going to have to do this again, man. We've been doing this since 3rd grade. We've been doing drills, Oklahomas. We've been doing this forever, our whole lives. All we know is this game that we both are good at to some degree. But he's better than I am, but we hate it, right? Okay, so we are so happy. We get on this bus in Elkins, West Virginia. We are ecstatic. We are out of there. It is over. What are Craig and I going to do? We're going to get an apartment when we're freshmen in college, and we are just going to do everything we've always wanted to do other than going to school and doing sports for like 3 or 4 hours afterwards, right?
Sure.
So we both had scholarship offers coming out of high school. So Craig could have gone and played center at like no less than 7 different institutions, right? I had like 2 scholarship offers to play quarterback. I didn't want to go to a smaller town in West Virginia to play for a smaller, no offense, Rich Rod and Terry Bowden and all these guys that coach these places. I just did not want to leave.
Sure.
The metropolitan area of Morgantown, and move on.
Is that vodka?
No, it's water. Okay. So both of us decided that we're not going to do this anymore. F it, we're done. So we worked all summer. I was just telling you this. Worked all summer after we graduated. We found enough money to get an apartment for $125 a month. 7 of us crammed.
It's good.
7 of us crammed to this place. We were just happy to be done with all this stuff. We're going to college. We are finally going to enjoy life. The whole deal, right? Okay, so the first semester we're there, West Virginia football goes on an incredible tear. They're 11-1. They have beaten everybody. Major Harris is the quarterback. They got a pro team. They go and they play in the Fiesta Bowl for the national championship against Notre Dame. Craig and I are sitting on our couch watching these games thinking, man, like you do anything, I miss football.
Now you miss it.
I miss football. Oh, boy, that looks like fun. Look at him in the net. They played Notre Dame, by the way, who had Tony Rice at quarterback. They had Rocket Ismail on one side. They had Tim Brown on the other.
Christ.
Their running back was a guy named Ricky Waters, and their fullback was a guy named Jerome Bettis. The only guy that you don't know is Tony Rice, who ended up playing in the Canadian League because at this point in time, the NFL says you can't be a black quarterback and play the game unless you're a Culpepper or someone who just drops back and slings it like Cunningham or one of these guys. You can't be a multifaceted quarterback like Russell Wilson. That's not possible. So at that point in time,
they were so smart.
Yeah, right. Good work, NFL. Either way, it's a different game. And then West Virginia, where we grew up, went to the national championship and played in this game. And Craig and I are sitting there watching this game, and we lost, and we got beat by a much better team, Rudy included. And then all right, so
were those the Rudy years?
So, but it doesn't take long for spring ball to kick in, right? So spring ball kicks in, like maybe that game's on January 2nd, January 3rd. Spring ball kicks off in maybe the end of February, early March, and we have the student newspaper called the Daily Athenaeum.
The Daily Athenaeum.
That was the name of the paper. We got it every day.
What does Athenaeum mean?
Actually, it's a very good newspaper. It was just the student newspaper.
What does it mean? You went to college?
I don't know. I'm not sure. But Cole Bank, as soon as I walk in the door after classes, he goes, "Hey, man, West Virginia is having open tryouts." And I was like, dude, we already made this pact. We walked off that field that day in Elkins playing Winfield. We're never playing sports again. The hell with this. And I'm like, Craig's the guy. So I'm like, all right, Craig, you can make this team. They just played in the national championship. You could make this team. You still got it, man. We're smoking weed. We're drunk.
Oh, everybody's got
We're
it when
on the
you're
couch. Remember, we went from high school and then just went straight into college without playing sports.
Yeah.
We're kids. We're running wild. We're having a good time. He's like, I'll bet you I can make the team. I'm like, you can't make that goddamn team. They just played Notre Dame. And he's like, yeah, I can. I'm like, you know what? Then I can make the team. I got nothing to lose. So Colbank, who has the car, he drives us. By the way, Craig is one of the greatest tattoo artists I've ever seen in my life in West Virginia now. He's got a whole studio, the whole thing. He's got like 3 or 4 shops.
Now I like
Probably
him.
not doing very well.
Not at the moment. Yeah.
Right, exactly. But he goes, let's go. Let's just go do it. Let's go. It's open tryouts. They have it in Daily Athenaeum. You could try out for a national championship team. And I'm like, $100, I make that team. And he goes, no way. $100, I make that team. I'm like, all right. So we get there, and there are 300 kids, kind of like the 12th man originally. If you're from Seattle, just understand how this goes. Jackie Sherrill, who was the coach at Pitt, used to have the 12th man. The 12th man was a group of kids who were on the kickoff team. What they did was they took all these kids from Pitt who were not football players, and they said, look, we don't want to ruin our guys on kickoff. They knew more than the NFL knows now as far as trauma. We're going to run these frat kids down the field. They'll take care of kickoff. They did this for a number of years. It did not take off until he lost his job or gained a job at Texas A&M. So then the Aggies had the 12th man.
Right.
The 12th man, Seattle, originates at Texas A&M. You can say whatever you want. You can write in your emails. You can call me a piece of shit, a fucking ass. I don't care. You can't revisionize history. This is the way it went down. Jackie Sherrill, 12th man, should get all of your money whenever you put a 12 on a jersey. It's his idea. Don't fucking give me any shit. So he goes to Texas A&M. Does the 12th man there. Okay, that whole deal goes down. We are basically going into this environment as those type of people. This is a walk-on tryout. All right, so the next day they are going to post the names of the people who made the team. Again, there's 200 plus people. 6 people have made the team. All right? I don't give a shit. I haven't kicked a ball in a year.
Right.
Like, I haven't done shit. I've gotten high. I've had sex. I've done drugs.
I've had sex.
Craig is still in great shape. He's this huge dude. All the stuff. We go in, we do the tryouts. It's an entire day of everything from how far can you jump to how much fucking weight can you put up in a bench press. None of this shit matters.
Right.
Either way, we're going to go and we're going to do this. All right? We go the next day. We look at the door. By the way, I knocked the living hell out of the ball that day. I hadn't kicked the ball in months. So I was just blasting. I was blasting punts. I was a quarterback in high school, but I was also the punter. I was an all-state punter. I can punt. No big deal. I can do that. I know I can do. I might not be able to complete a pass to the right team. I can punt the ball.
But you can complete a
And you know
pass.
why I'm so good at punting the ball? Because I was so bad at throwing on third down that I actually really got good at giving the ball over to the other team. That's why I was all-state. Okay, so, all right. So I'm booming the ball. We get up to the front door. The next day, he's driving, $100 bet. This is all because we're high and drunk. We read this in the paper. My name's on the list. It's at the top of the list. Be here 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, which was the next thing. From that point on, my entire college life went to shit. The partying, the dope, the women, the whole thing went away. I made the goddamn team of the team that just played in the national championship game. Craig did not. And he could not be happier about this because he did not want to do it in the first place, although it was his fucking idea. So for the next 3 fucking years, I had to go to practice. I lost my, look, I know it might sound cool. Go, you play college football. It's not good. It's not fun. You have to be there every day. You have to work your ass off. You can't take classes when you need to. You can't do anything but obey by the God of college football, you can't smoke weed. So what did? We ate acid and mushrooms.
They don't test for it.
But we can't. Well, we could do coke. But we couldn't do.
Mike,
because
find out what they're testing for. You can do any drug you want except the one they're looking for.
Colbank, Think and Ink Tattoos in Morgantown. This is your guy that ruined my college career by me not wanting to not take a bet. And so, yes, I ended up playing for West Virginia. It was very cool. It was
Was it?
No, it sucked. I mean, it sucked.
You're saying retrospect cool.
Right. It's
Things
not.
are cool when at the time
okay, it
it's
sounds
cool.
cool to say that, but it was horrible at the time. They just worked your ass off. You were there all the time. You're not getting paid. You can't get a job. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay, you're on the football team. Okay. Yay. That does nothing for your life. You have nothing after the fact. I was on Scully. Basically, if we were playing Syracuse that week, I was Syracuse.
Right.
Beat the living hell out of the scout team. That was basically my entire life in college. So I spent my entire life in college playing football that I never actually got on the field and play because my roommate, who was drunk and high with me, made me $100 bet that I couldn't make the fucking team.
You're saying this is your roommate's fault.
I'm saying he never paid me the $100.
Bad form.
I wasted don't get me wrong. Like, I'm going to play in the NFL? Are you fucking kidding me? You know what I mean? Like, no. So I wasted my entire goddamn college life where I could be fucking chicks, getting drunk, doing drugs, and having a good time. And now, you take the love for the Mountaineers. Who gives a fuck? Nobody. But because of a bet on two friends, I ended up having to play goddamn college football. And that's why I played. The only reason was because we got drunk one night and we were looking at the paper and they said, open tryouts, just give it a try.
You know what's amazing? Most kids that play college football,
Rudy.
they dream of it and they worked hard for it. Miles is like, I could have been high.
I swear to God, that's how it went down. And I'm still pissed at him to this day. Because if it wasn't for him opening his big goddamn mouth and challenging me to
No.
dude, I know I can make...
This is your fault. You could have said, nah. No, you didn't do that.
I knew I could punt. I'm not going to beat out Major Harris at quarterback. I already know that, but I know I could punt the goddamn ball. I just didn't want to be there and do that and go through that.
Did you even try at quarterback?
No, Major Harris is the quarterback. He was a Heisman candidate.
Right.
Tony Rice, the guy they played the year before, another Heisman. I'm not built for that.
I'm just saying that's how you don't get on the team is that you try out a quarterback.
No,
Then
I
you
tried
can
out for
avoid it.
punter.
Yeah.
And I made the goddamn team. And then I never punted once in a game. I never played. I spent 3 years of my life doing this, all because that Craig Colbank made me a shitty fucking bet on a goddamn couch one night when we were stoned.
That's his fault.
It's his fault.
It's his fault that you accepted a bet you didn't want to take.
Correct.
Yeah. Just saying.
You've been listening to The Greatest Story Never Told with Miles and Thrill on radio.com.
Oh, man! A Double Flush production.